Good morning. Welcome to Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. Good morning, Carol.
Malcolm, it's
Monday.
Thanksgiving week.
Tis the week of the bird. 3 days. Let's see. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay, people, if your turkey is frozen,
You better get after it.
you better get after it right now. Go put that bird in the refrigerator. 3 days.
So this is it.
Yeah.
If you've got a frozen turkey in the house, it's you better bust a move. So interesting week. A couple things I wanted to talk about that I did. One was for the second time, I ate the feta cheese brined fried chicken at the Mayflower, which is their Tuesday lunch blue plate.
Rocks your world, doesn't it, Malcolm?
It's really good, and I think people ought to check it out. It's unique. We had read about and talked about using the feta cheese brine, but I'd never seen it used commercially until the good folks down at the Mayflower started implementing it. So really cool idea, particularly because it's a Greek restaurant. They're using a Greek cheese brine.
Makes sense to me.
Anyway, check it out Tuesdays at the Mayflower. You will not be sorry. Also, finally, and alas, Sacred Ground Barbecue has opened at Pocahontas. It is open Thursday through Sunday from 11 a.m. until. And I asked Jennifer what the until meant, and she said, on Sundays it means until we run out of barbecue, and on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays we usually close around 7 or 8, but we like to keep it open so that we can kind of decide when we want to shut it down. So
Yeah, it's loose. It's flexible.
So it was really good. The brisket is world class. You haven't been yet, right?
Yes.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. I had this was my second time. I had the pork ribs, the beef brisket, and the coleslaw is really, really great. The corn salad is amazing. But anywho, it's open and running, and alas, we have a Texas-style barbecue joint in our community.
Did you have the beef ribs?
I had them the first time.
Yeah, those were just outstanding.
Yeah, because that's the Texas thing.
Yeah, but
Big on beef.
You know, the Germans, they came and did all these wonderful things, and we're people of the pork here in the Deep South.
Right.
So this is a new twist for us.
I see you got your books, your Marshall Ramsey books.
I'm promoting Marshall Ramsey's new book, Saving Sam, and it's about Banjo, his dog, who sadly... No, it was Pip that passed. This is a Banjo dog story, but I have these because I have small children coming in town for Thanksgiving, and Marshall signed and left those for me.
Great. Before we move into full-on Thanksgiving, which of course we will, this is our last show before Turkey Day. We got a lot to talk about, and we got others joining us to talk about. I wanted to, in restaurant news, Chaz Lindsay, who owns
Polito,
the great Italian restaurant in the Belhaven Town Center, is opening up across the street at the old District Donut location. He will be opening up Rowan's. Rowan's will be a bar and restaurant. The story I read in the Clarion Ledger said that they're sort of shooting for replacing Finian's, the void that Finian's closing has created in the Belhaven Heights downtown area. They're promoting good food and a great bar. They refer to it as a dive bar. Used to be a derogatory term. Now it's considered prestigious to be a dive bar.
Retro Malcolm.
Right, you got to get with it. So Rowan's coming to Belhaven Town Center. Now, many people are confused. They think that it's going in the old Finian's location. It is not. It is going into the town center, Belhaven Town Center, in the old District Donut.
Across from Polito.
Across the street from Polito, next door to Elvy's.
Yep.
So just FYI. So there you have it.
So have you been on Cooking and Coping this week?
Yeah, a lot going on, of course, as we build up to Thanksgiving, a couple of really fun things. One was our great friend Tim Pierce post about his tradition that he refers to as Union Thanksgiving service. He says, growing up in Boonville, I always felt a sense of community and love. There was a never-ending effort to come together as a community to share love with each other, but especially to help those less fortunate. Thanksgiving was one of those times. Every year from 1959 to 1979, my family went to the Union Thanksgiving service on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, which of course was on a Thursday. Sadly, not every church participated, but certainly the First Free Will Baptist, where Tim, I suppose, was a member, was always represented and gladly showed out when it was our time to host. And so this was cooking for the less fortunate, and then he goes on to talk about sort of an abbreviated dinner he had at his home that they now sort of think of as the Union Thanksgiving dinner. But what a touching and important story.
Yeah, it was a great story, but he had his Union service, I guess it was last night or a couple of nights ago, and they had this wonderful Thanksgiving meal, and the only rule is it couldn't be traditional Thanksgiving food. It said, what would you like to cook if you didn't have to cook the traditional dishes. So that looked like fun. And then another really fun one was Charlotte Duck Pelton down in Florida just wrote something in big letters, something like, I hate green bean casserole.
Yeah.
I mean, she just put it out there, and so many comments, Malcolm, so many comments. And I don't think in the comments there was a single person who liked green bean casserole.
She said, I know this might be heresy, but I don't get green bean casserole. Yuck. And then from there, 30 to 50 comments, overwhelmingly anti-green bean casserole.
Yeah.
So,
I loved what Larry Rayburn said. He said, I never met a green bean I didn't like until I had green bean casserole.
Right. And, at our house, we cook what Kara calls Armenian green beans, which is what her grandmother cooked and her mother cooked. And they're fresh green beans cooked with tomatoes. They also have a version
really
of that at Sacred Ground. One of their sides are the green beans, which have the tomatoes in them. But anyway, that's how we cook them, using fresh green beans. But everybody, to their own. Certainly, I grew up eating the green bean casserole with the can of mushroom soup.
And I have to have it on my table because the Palmer twins had that on their table. The Palmer boys in Corinth. So green bean casserole will be on my table.
Topped with the canned
crunchy onion
rings. I wonder what it would be like if you made like a whole batch of fresh onion rings and put it on top. Probably not the same, huh?
No, they wouldn't be as crunchy.
Wouldn't be as crunchy. Wouldn't have the right chemicals in it, I guess. Another Thanksgiving note that we want to bring to your attention is that the annual Turkey Confidential will air on MPB Think Radio this Thanksgiving Day from 9 a.m. Until 11. So I guess that's, of course, November 28th, Thursday. Turkey Confidential will air. Turkey Confidential is the Splendid Table's annual Thanksgiving show. Francis Lamb takes calls and comes to the rescue of the Thanksgiving cooks, kitchen helpers, and dinner guests during the biggest cooking day of the year. And
he has quite an array of cooks to help answer the questions. And Paola Velez, who has the Bodega Bakes cookbook, Joe Yonan, Tiffany Derry, and Andrea Gwynn. And with a panel like that, they can really cover the turkey. So from 9 till 11 on Thanksgiving morning, even if you just want something interesting to listen to. And you don't want to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, listen to Splendid Table in your kitchen. Right, 9 until 11. Hey, Mel, I was going to tell you about an experience I had on cooking and coping. After our conversation with Tim Pierce about oyster dressing, I decided instead of trying to please the Palmer twins, I've been trying to please them for like 12 years. I have made every kind of oyster dressing, trying to replicate or, whatever their mother made.
Right,
And
right.
finally, I have just figured out it was cornbread dressing, and she just stuck the oysters.
Just poke a hole
So,
and stick the oyster in
once
and
we
bake them.
figured that out, I decided I'm going to do something I want. But I couldn't find it was an old recipe. I lost the book in Katrina, and I put it out there on Cooking and Coping. It was a Louisiana eggplant oyster dressing from
saw that.
Louisiana Entertains. You would not believe the response I got. It was just amazing. It was just heartwarming. I've got the recipe. I'm going to make it, and I'll tell you all about it.
Okay. Well, great. You have new glasses.
Yeah.
For our listeners who are also our viewers, check out Carol's new eyeglasses. They're radical. I like them. They're
I'm
square.
radical.
They're square.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break, but before we break, when we come back, we're going to have Elizabeth Heiskell join us. And our thinking was, since it's Egg Bowl week, that's the football game between Mississippi State and Ole Miss, and Elizabeth is headquartered in Oxford, is a caterer and a tailgater and a cookbook author and a TikTok star.
And a celebrity. She's on the Today Show.
Right. So anyway, the lead-in is that the first time Ole Miss and State played was in 1901. Since 1927, the winning squad has been awarded the possession of the Golden Egg Trophy. The game has been played every year since 1944, making it the 10th longest uninterrupted series in the United States. In terms of winning and losing, Ole Miss leads the series 65-46 with 6 ties. This is through 2023. So we will see this Friday night how the Egg Bowl unfolds. So we'll talk about tailgating. We'll talk about the Egg Bowl that is forthcoming in Oxford, and we will find out what's going on in Elizabeth Heiskell's life. We'll take a quick break. Love to hear from you, and it's simple. It's toll-free. It's 1-877-672-7464, or you can shoot us an email to food@mpbonline.org. So Carol and I and Elizabeth Heiskell will join you after a short break. Welcome back to Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. And we think we have Elizabeth Heiskell zoomed in here.
We do.
We
Y'all
do.
see me?
We see you, but I don't think you can see us. But trust not, we are here.
See you, but I know you're there. I can hear you.
We are here.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Hello, honey. How are y'all?
We're good.
We are so good. We've been
Oh, my God.
thinking about you and talking about you, and we always think about you Thanksgiving week.
Well, I think because I'm so passionate about it, you know, I'm a very much a rule breaker. Carol, you know this about me from our days working together at Viking. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, I am all about the rules. You know, I mean, I think it should be traditional. I think it should be the same every year, and I don't think there's any reason to deviate.
All right.
And there you have it.
And there you have it.
There you go.
So I was scanning around last week and somehow landed on the Paul Feinbaum show.
Oh, my God, my new boyfriend.
And there
What
you
are
were.
talking
And he
about?
was smitten and enamored, and he could hardly talk because you waylaid him. Paul was
Y'all-
speechless.
Okay, so I was on SEC Nation. They came to Oxford for the Georgia game, which was a perfect time to be here. Obviously, it's one of the greatest days in Ole Miss history as far as football goes. And so they invited me to be on the show on Friday night. And, you know, I do watch his show every now and then and know about him and know he can be kind of a curmudgeon. And so I just kept, you know, my intention was, you know, I just want him to fall in love with Oxford, fall in love with me, you know, just really just love, you know, this whole place, because his reputation is that, you know, he really doesn't care for Ole Miss or Oxford too much. So, I mean, he looked at me, he goes, I feel like I've known you somewhere else. He goes, I'm smitten. I was like, oh my God, my powers are working.
Look,
Anyway.
I've seen those powers work, and we'll talk about that. I mean, you just beat him over the head till he put you on the show.
That's not the truth.
I
That's
think
not-
you'll be back. I have a feeling you'll be invited back.
I hope so. It was fun.
So it got us thinking about the Egg Bowl and how it coincides with Thanksgiving and how involved you are as a caterer in and around Oxford and the Grove and Ole Miss. And I thought, man, we need to get Elizabeth on because she's really dedicated to Thanksgiving traditions, and also she's in the middle of the Egg Bowl Grove situation. So tell our listeners who might not know, and I can't imagine there are many, about the scene in the Grove for the Egg Bowl when it's in Oxford.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to tell you that it's just, it is, God, I can hardly speak about it because honestly, the thing that's so difficult about it is that you're going to have family members that are going to be on both sides of this fence. You know, it's not like you're playing Georgia or, you know, or Alabama or something else. It's not like they're going to be, you know, sitting at your Thanksgiving dinner. Well, that is what happens all across Mississippi. You know, I mean, my daughter went to state. My dad grew up just a passionate and still is state fan. He went to state. I went to state. You know, and then here we are sitting in the middle of Oxford, Mississippi, with the most diehard rebels you've ever seen in your life. And so it's like you have to play nice on Thanksgiving, okay?
Oh, yeah.
There's no chance in bringing it up, no trash talking, you know, none of that. But then Friday morning, you wake up, buddy, it's game on, you know, and it's just the way it is. And, you know, we're not going to talk much that day, and probably not going to talk much after the game. You know, I mean, it's just, it's a really weird, fun, you know, kind of thing. And I learned very early in my relationship that, you know, it just wasn't best we just don't talk about it. And I don't really spend a whole lot of time with Luke and the rest of the family on that day. I'm serious. First time Luke ever met my dad, we went down for the Mississippi State Ole Miss game. We were in Starkville. He proceeded to drink, I swear to God, I think a whole bottle of bourbon. And things just went downhill real fast. And they lost. Ole Miss lost. And I'm telling you, Luke Heiskell acted out like nothing I have ever seen before. And then he passed. Y'all, it was terrible. He passed out on the way home because we were going to take him to the duck camp. And he kept kind of waking up and he'd go, don't make sure you drop me at the duck camp. And Daddy looked back. He goes, son, you're going to be lucky if I even slow the car down. You're gonna be lucky if I even slow the car down before I kick you out. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. And so we don't really talk a lot about the Egg Bowl, but no, it is a great tradition for Ole Miss. That was a lot, wasn't it?
So, or it was a lot, Elizabeth, and I have to tell you, I am the only Mississippi State fan who will be at Go Away Lodge. There'll be 33 people, and there will only be one Mississippi State. It is very lonely to watch the football game.
It is,
but I do have a cowbell. I have my cowbell.
Oh my God! Well, they are gonna really love that.
Oh, they're gonna love it. So are you doing a lot of catering for the Grove and for parties at people's houses?
You know, we have absolutely worn ourselves down to the bare nub. We have done the Grove. I mean, I'm talking Oklahoma almost killed me. I mean, I've never it was like nothing else, because you know what people don't understand about the Grove, unless you've been there and you've catered in it or you set up your own tent. They're going to close that Grove 3 hours ahead of time, 3 hours ahead of game time, okay? Which means you're going to need to be in the Grove 5 hours ahead of time so you can get set up and get out. Now, in Oklahoma, they decided that since there were so many people there, they were going to close 4 hours before game time, okay? So it was 11 o'clock game time, so they closed the Grove at 7 a.m. We were in the Grove at 4 a.m. in the pitch black dark, trying to set up tents, it was something, Carol. So we ended up, we don't usually cater for the Egg Bowl just because it's the day before Thanksgiving. And I want I don't want us to have to cook on Thanksgiving. I mean, it's too.
Well, I'm really glad to hear this, because I didn't know how in the world you could do all that.
I'm the only one, though, that does this. I mean, my Michelle's, TG, all of the other big ones. I mean, my God, Taylor Grocery's going to be frying catfish. They'll be up at God knows what time Friday morning frying catfish. So they're all in it, and they will be there, and that's the way it is. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. But anyway, yeah. But it is the best day, and it's the worst day, and that's the only way. That's the only way you can describe it. And somebody's gonna be happy, and somebody's gonna be mad, and that's it.
Well, let's go back to Thanksgiving, and let's talk about how you'll just chase people down like Paul Feinbaum, and I remember the days when we worked together at Viking, and the Garden and Gun
oh my God
crew came, the editor and all the big shots. And you kept telling me, I've got to get in front of them to talk about my pillowcase turkey. I mean, and you chased the poor man, Sid Evans, who at the time, the editor, through Greenwood until you told him about your pillowcase turkey, and the rest is history.
And I mean, up in his face, Carol. Like, it was.
Yes.
I know that he thought, how is this lunatic, number one, working here? And why did they let her out of the kitchen? And why? I mean, on him. Like, I was literally, could not have had my face any closer to his face. And, but it worked. They did an article about my grandmother's pillowcase turkey. And now we're dear friends, and he's the reason that that I did my first cookbook. Come on over. So, what can I bring? So, it
was his lucky day that he met you, and that he learned. But tell our listeners, it's like reading the night before Christmas or something. At Christmas,
it's a tradition here.
It's a tradition to talk about Elizabeth Heiskell's pillowcase turkey. So let's hear it.
It's best. So this is, it's my grandmother's recipe, and you have to, and this, but in 1950, there wasn't a Williams-Sonoma in Greenville, Mississippi. There was nothing. And so, and you couldn't get on the Amazon and order a little cheesecloth. And so what she would do, she would take a pillowcase. Now, I don't mean she didn't sleep on it the night before. Obviously, it was a clean pillowcase that was white, only white, and 100% cotton. And so she would wrap the turkey in the pillowcase, flip him upside down, so that all of the juice is gonna run to that breast, and sort of that, or at least that's the thought. Sit there, and so wrapped it up, saturated it, and so she would pour red wine over it, because my grandfather loved a dark gravy. He did not want a like a creamy poultry gravy. So she would pour that over. She would put bay leaves in the bottom. She'd do a little cognac of the pan. We always use a V-rack.
Right.
roasting pan with the V-rack. If you don't have one, you need to go get one. I feel so sorry for these people that I see in the line at the Kroger with that tinfoil pan, that big fat tinfoil pan. I don't understand how they get it out. I mean, I'm sure the whole thing collapses. Like, I just get a V-rack, go ahead and just invest in one. You can buy one right now for nothing. Anyway, so put it in the V-rack, and which is just a rack in a roasting pan. And then she would put it in the oven and baste it, with butter, the same thing, that butter wine mixture. And I'm telling you, right before it came out, it was like a team effort. It was like a team sport. You had to get the turkey out, then you had to lift it, then you had to flip it, then you had to get the pillowcase off, and that was all in one fell swoop. So I mean, it was an ordeal. Then you would flip him, put him back, but baste him with more butter, put him back in the oven, and so that it would brown up. And what I'm telling you is that it literally it is the most incredible turkey, because it's like one more layer of protection to really hold in all of those juices. It's almost like it steams, really. And then it truly, it's epic. And when Southern Living, so Garden and Gun, let me think, how did this work? Garden and Gun did the article first, then Southern Living picked it up. And Southern Living, they are neurotic about testing recipes, just so you know this. I mean, neurotic. And anyway, when they tested all the recipes that year that my pillowcase turkey was in, and they tested 10,000 recipes, and my turkey landed in the top 10. Not top 10 of turkeys, top 10 of all the recipes.
I have no doubt.
Carol, don't you think? And Malcolm.
And then you ended up on the Today Show, right?
Yeah. And the reason, is this not crazy? That damn turkey has taken me everywhere. So I was watching Martha Stewart, who, by the way, Carol, Martha sends her love to you and to your family. I just saw her.
That's so sweet.
Oh, no, honey, I drop that name so fast as soon as I see her. Carol says to tell you hello, Carol Puckett from Jackson. And she's like, oh, how is Carol? And I said, she's wonderful. She's married now. I said, yes, she is. And then she'll say, and how is everyone else? How is her, and we go through the whole thing. And then, but regardless, she did send her love. So she was on the Today Show. This was 25 years ago, because this is my 10th year anniversary of being on the Today Show. And I'd wanted to be on for 15 years before that. So 25 years ago. And she was doing the Thanksgiving turkey. And it was literally, it may have been a roast chicken. It was the dumbest. I'm sorry, Martha, forgive me. But it really, it was nothing. And so I just said to my friend Jitsi, I said, listen, Jitsi, I said, I am going to be on that Today Show, and I'm going to do my grandmother's pillowcase turkey. I said, everybody needs to know about this recipe. And Jitsi said, well, absolutely. That is the best idea. And anyway, so that, in fact, ended up being the first recipe that I ever did on the Today Show. And so that was it. 2 minutes and 13 seconds, I did a whole turkey. Can you imagine? I even did the flip. I flipped it. Unrobed it, got it back in the oven. 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Lord,
Live television.
Yeah, you can go back and watch it if you want. It was pretty funny, I have to say.
Okay, we're going to have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Elizabeth Heiskell. If you have questions for Elizabeth, it is Thanksgiving, or if you have questions for Carol about your checklist, which we'll touch base on when we come back, you can do that by dialing 1-877-672-7464, or shoot us an email to food@mpbonline.org. We are so excited to have Elizabeth Heiskell on. Elizabeth, since we've last had her on, has become a TikTok star, above and beyond all this other stuff. So we're going to hear all about that, and we'll talk more about Thanksgiving. If you want to join the party, it's easy, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. We're back, and so are you. It's Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Mel.
We're so happy to have Elizabeth Heiskell zoomed in on this show this morning. She's cracking me up, as always.
She always cracks me up. Elizabeth, during the break, Liz Gill, who works here at MPB, just came in and said, my timeline is filling up with all these people talking about spatchcock turkeys. And it's a thing now. And to spatchcock something, you take the backbone. Chicken is the most normal for me. Take the backbone out and splay it.
Mm-hmm. What do you do with the backbone when you take it out?
Some people make stock with it and use it like that. But, when you have a 20-pound turkey, man, I think you would need a chainsaw. Or so, I don't know how people.
I've never spatchcocked a turkey. Have you, Elizabeth?
No, I never have. Al Roker does it every year, but I don't. I just think, Lord, just getting the turkey done and cooked and flipped and unwrapped and unrobed and whatever else you're doing that day, that seems like a lot to put on yourself for that day.
Yeah. Unroping and unwrapping, the whole theory about the spatchcock is that it cooks more evenly, and you can cook it in a hot oven, and it doesn't take as long. But I'm just visualizing how in the world you would cut the
what I want to know, because once you flatten that turkey out, it's going to be pretty wide, people.
Mm-hmm. It is going to be. That's what Liz was saying. She was going to put it on a sheet pan, but
you'd have to have two.
Yeah, some stores now, have chickens in their case that are already spatchcocked.
So is Liz going to do this? She's going to do it?
I think she said she was going to try. She said, "Should I go get some of those like kitchen shears at the hardware store?" I said, "You're going to have to do more than that."
She might need a machete.
Yeah, a machete.
Those loppers. Go get you a lopper. Like one of those things to cut a branch or a tree down with. Honestly.
Well, Elizabeth, I'm just delighted to know that you are now a TikTok star, and
okay, Carol, you're gonna laugh so hard. And Malcolm, forgive me. It's just it's hysterical. So with Instagram and TikTok, which I just got TikTok. I had an account and I had a girl that was kind of running it for me, but not real serious. And so I kept, it's just become the way of the world. And if you don't have viewers, then honestly, your hands are tied, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or even Facebook. And it makes sense. I get it. Why is someone going to give me a television show over somebody that has 2 million viewers that they're going to bring along with them, when they're, whatever they're doing, whether it's a book, any of this. And so it was sorority season, it was rush season. And so I was watching, all of the Instagram videos and the TikToks that all the sororities do now in order to promote their sorority. It's brilliant. And so I found the cutest one that I thought was the most darling girl, and she is, and I hired her to take over my social media. And so I have this precious cow, and KK Hagel, and buddy, she is killing it. So when we started, we had 950 followers. Now we have 50,000.
No, you have 51,000.
You're right. Don't forget that extra 1,000, 51,000. Within the first 2 weeks, we had a viral video on my chicken salad that literally got 2.3 million views. It was crazy. It's the most insane thing. It's three ingredients. It's chicken, Cavender's, and Hellman's mayonnaise. That's it. That is it. It's more the method of how you cook the chicken salad. Oh, and celery. So I guess that's 4 ingredients. Anyway, and it went viral. Bethany Frankel, who's also a TikTok star and a former housewife, and she owns the Skinny Girl Margarita Company. She was commenting on it. We were going back and forth. They immediately flew me to the Today Show to do the TikTok chicken salad. It's nuts. It's like I've discovered a whole nother planet.
It is another planet. But that chicken salad has been your calling card, that and pimento cheese forever.
You're right. You're right. That's how I got Andy Lack. I sent him chicken salad, pimento cheese, Bloody Mary mix, and cheese straws, and ultimately that's how I got on the Today Show.
Because
So,
Andy Lack was the president of NBC, and yet another person that Elizabeth chased down, but she chased him down with food in hand.
Yes, violently did I chase him down. Lord, I saw that man on the street in New York, like right after I had been on for a couple of months or something, and he was walking on the street, and literally I ran at him and I bear hugged him. Carol, can you imagine? Can you imagine what that man thought of me? Bear hugged him like we were long lost best friends.
I'm sure he loved it.
Shake me off of him. Anyway, it was hysterical. So, yeah.
It worked. But I saw one of your TikToks. You did your cornbread dressing, and your cornbread dressing is an old family recipe, but it's pretty complex.
You think? I was going to say it's like mine is, it's just to me, it's very straightforward. And, again, we go back to my rules on cornbread dressing, and this is just the way it's going to be made. And if somebody told me, I don't care how much I was trying to win over or impress some twins, I can tell you right now, I sure as hell wouldn't put an oyster in it. It did not happen.
I agree with you, Elizabeth.
That's oysters Johnny Reb. That's a completely different casserole that has nothing to do with cornbread dressing.
Yeah, you're right.
So, that's just my opinion. But anyway, so cornbread, I do saltines. You could do white bread. You can do biscuits, whatever. And then celery, onions, sauteed in a ton of butter because I love to get that butter when I pour those onions in, into my cornbread. Mix that all up really, really well. And I like a little chunkiness, not big, but I don't just take that cornbread down to where it's just like sand.
And so, where do you stand on eggs?
Oh yeah, got 2 eggs. We got to have 2 eggs.
Now you're doing multiple breads. You're doing cornbread and white bread, cornbread and biscuits, right?
She's doing saltine crackers. She has to be weird.
Cornbread and saltines.
Yes, and crushed up saltines. It just kind of lightens up that cornbread just a little bit, and not equal parts by any means. It's really about 3/4 cornbread to 1/4 saltines. Now, and you can go to Elizabeth Heiskell Official on the Instagram if you don't have the TikTok, and that recipe is there as well. So, but yeah, so then I go with chicken broth, just like chicken broth, sage, but I saute my sage and my poultry seasoning in with my onions and my celery, just to kind of go ahead and kind of get that activating and starting to smell real good. And then the secret to me is that I add a can of cream of. And with this, it can be a can of cream of anything. And really, it could be a can of cream of chicken, can of cream of mushroom, can of cream of celery. I personally like cream of chicken and mushroom mixed together. And then a couple of eggs, Tony Chachere's, seasoned salt. But remember, that chicken broth has a ton of sodium in it, and so does that can of cream of. That can of cream of can, send you to the hospital. It's got so much salt in it.
And you
just kind of, watch that. Be careful. Taste it, then add your beaten eggs, and then you're good to go.
And you leave the cornbread sort of chunky and not.
I do.
I don't like it all mushed, but a lot of people love that sort of cream of dressing. I like.
It's like a pudding.
Yeah.
You do you.
Sure.
On Thanksgiving, unless you're adding oysters to it, that's where I'm gonna put my foot down. But yeah.
What about crab meat?
No, I'm sorry.
Absolutely not.
Cornbread dressing. It's not crab meat maison.
You call it what you want to. I like to put either oysters or crab meat in my dressing, and it's not always predominantly cornbread. I like the stuffing approach too, the cut up bread. But anyway, we're going to do what we're going to do. Where are you on the green bean casserole?
I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's one of the tackiest things that anybody has ever created. And, it's funny because my family, of course, being from the Delta, very refined, we think we are just the end all be all. And so we would have my grandmother and my great grandmother would have no more had a green bean casserole on for Thanksgiving than the Man in the Moon. I mean, it was the same exact menu every year since my great grandmother, and nothing changed ever. And so then when I married Luke, his mom was from Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so that came with a whole other, and green bean casserole was one of the things. And so I had to learn how to make the green bean casserole. And so now, I mean, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. But yes, we have to have it because it has to have.
I get it. I get it. And,
Carol, you're up there stuffing corn dressing with oysters. I mean,
well, no, I refuse to do that. But,
and how much we love Larry Rayburn. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to throw that out there. So you said something about Larry Rayburn on the.
Yeah, he's on our cooking and coping site. He loves green beans except when they're in a casserole.
He is without a doubt, he's one of my favorite people in the entire world. Mark my words, I love him to pieces. Larry Rayburn for president, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, we got a caller. Liz is on the phone. I don't know where you're calling from, Liz, but we're glad you're here. What's up?
Hi, I'm calling from Moselle.
Moselle, oh great.
In between Laurel and Hattiesburg.
Know it well.
I have never had a deep fried turkey, and I've always been curious, but I cook for one, and usually I have invitations for Thanksgiving, but this year all my inviting friends are overseas, and I was thinking of making a deep fried Cornish hen from little old me.
That was my first thought when you said it was.
I love that.
It was one person now, and I thought if you want a fried turkey, work your way down, either a fried chicken or a fried hen. Now let's talk about a Cornish hen. And I've never fried one. Elizabeth, have you?
I haven't, but I'm telling you, I think it's brilliant. Liz, this is turning me on to something really, really amazing. How smart are you? No, I love this idea. Absolutely love it.
I'm not smart because I don't know how to do it. That's why I'm calling y'all.
Well, when you first said deep fried turkey, I was going, oh Lord, because you have to have equipment to do. Right. You have to have, giant
you gotta have a rig.
You've tons and tons of oil. But you could fry a Cornish hen.
Maybe even in a fry daddy.
Yeah, or just a deep saucepan.
Yeah, you just fill up your vessel with oil enough to cover the bird, right? Which would, I don't know, a Cornish hen is what, 4-6 inches at the depth, and just drop it.
They're little.
Yeah, get your oil hot, but be very careful. Rub it really nicely with herbs and all whatever, and
lots of. I would do, seasoned salt, Tony Shastry, all of those sorts of things inside and out. Yeah. And
drop it slowly. And what temperature, Elizabeth, should she get the oil? Get it to 375 before you, and gently ease it in. Don't let it splatter.
Don't let it flop. Yeah, I don't want flop. Yeah.
Okay. One of the keys is it's going to have to be extremely dry. Okay, you can't have any water in the cavity. If you're going to rinse it, make sure you dry it very, very well, because that water will make the oil just go crazy, and it might be an issue. So
we don't need a Thanksgiving kitchen fire.
I'm looking. They're the Neelys from Memphis who have the barbecue restaurant. They do a fried Cornish hen. Heat up peanut oil to 375 in a large Dutch oven. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees. You fry it for about 13 minutes.
Liz, are you on Cooking and Coping, our Facebook page?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't do.
Okay, that's fine. I was just trying to find a way to get the recipe that Carol has located here to you.
Well, you might be able to coax me into joining.
But what I was concerned about was the time, and so I think this says 13 minutes, and that gives you a good range.
Okay, and now I have read and looked on YouTube and stuff, and some people flour it, and that just doesn't. I don't know. I don't think so.
I would
I
not
don't-
flour
I
it,
don't-
Elizabeth.
No. Okay.
No.
Just season it well inside and out, and pop it in for. Tell me again how many minutes. I'm old. I forget.
Carol, did you say 13 minutes?
13 minutes.
Okay.
And
Got
call
it.
us next week and report out on how this went. I'd be very curious to know.
I sure will. And I appreciate y'all's help.
Okay, and also, Liz, if you'll hang on, we're gonna hang up on our end, but keep listening. We have another caller. Charlie is on the phone and he's going to talk a little bit more about this process of frying a Cornish hen. So, Charlie, you're on the line. How are you today?
Good morning. Good. Yeah, I've done a couple of them before. It's really easy. Of course, now I browned it the night before, which is the flavor thing, and it doesn't take much. But and yeah, generally it's 12 to 15 minutes a pound is what I've heard about all the birds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
12 to 15 per pound. So whatever size, and I think Cornish game hens are usually a pound.
Right.
And,
That's why Carol
I've
was
done
saying.
about 15 minutes to get it.
So,
good and
Charlie,
crisp.
did you do a dry brine?
No, I did a wet brine.
Okay.
I guess you could do a dry one, but I did wet. It was just, salt water, brown sugar, Tony Chachere's, and that was it. And let it sit overnight in the refrigerator, and dried it out the next day, and drop it in the oil, 370, 350, 375, 15 minutes. And
Sounds
do it, I can
delicious.
tell you.
Well, Charlie, thanks a million for listening and for calling. That's very helpful, and I hope that Liz was able to hear that as well. So we look forward to hearing how the deep fried Cornish hen works out. Sounds
Malcolm,
fun.
I'm really fascinated that Elizabeth said that on her great-grandmother, grandmother, and mother's table, the dishes were the same, nothing ever changed. What were those dishes, Elizabeth?
So it was always turkey with that, pillowcase turkey with that dark, wonderful gravy. And we always did rice. We did not do potatoes. And then asparagus with hollandaise, cornbread dressing, of course. And then a grapefruit salad with avocado and a wonderful, not poppy seed. It was just a beautiful French vinaigrette over lettuce. And that was our salad.
Wow.
And oh my God, the best sweet potatoes you've ever had with marshmallows, no pecan. And then she would do a Charlotte Russe for dessert. So that was it. And it didn't change. Oh, and cranberries, obviously. And so that was that.
Wow.
Every year.
So you'll cook that with some additional dishes that comes from your husband's side of the family.
Yeah, it's all gone to hell in a handbasket. I'm gonna be totally honest. At this point now, I've got children, and they're demanding things that are just willy nilly. I mean, I'm serious. Like, it's just I can't even talk about it really anymore. And my grandmother and my great grandmother, they are rolling over in their grave with what's going on at this house. I mean,
Don't tell me you've added macaroni and cheese.
Or mashed potatoes. Or green bean casserole.
Carol. Okay, let me just go. I'll just go ahead and tell you. This is what they want. So right now we're at turkey, the gravy, cranberry sauce, cornbread dressing, sweet potatoes. Then they want mashed potatoes. They want boursin potatoes. They want squash casserole. They want wait. What else? Oh, macaroni and cheese. Yes. Rice, because Mary Paxton, she doesn't like potatoes. Then I mean it's gotten and then I'm like, and then the asparagus, obviously I'm going to still do that just to have at least something that is not in a Pyrex dish. You have to think about that.
I know everything.
Pyrex.
Everything I have is in a Pyrex.
Baptist church potluck, and nothing against the Baptists, but that's not what I'm going for here.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us. We are always delighted to have you join us here on Deep South Dining. Good luck on Thanksgiving Day with all of the merging and the compromising.
It's terrible.
Thanks
Terrible.
a lot. Elizabeth Heiskell from Oxford.
Love y'all. Thank you.
Okay, bye, Elizabeth.
Don't forget, Turkey Confidential will air on MPB Think Radio this Thanksgiving Day from 9 a.m. till 11. So that's something to put on your calendar. Deep South Dining is a production of Mississippi Public Broadcasting's Think Radio. We are funded by generous contributions from folks like yourself. We thank you. We wish you all a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. Our show was produced by Marissa Vaughn. For our special guest, Elizabeth Heiskell, and my co-host, Carol Palmer, I am Malcolm White. We ask that you now stay tuned for Marshall Ramsey's program, Now You're Talking, and then Southern Remedy at 11. And please join us every Monday and Sunday.